New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning. On Hot 97.
It's Ebro in the morning. Beautiful Laura Styles, Rosenberg, and Black Dog on the program.
Yeah,
Tariq.
What's up?
So, you know something? First of all, we've been trying to have you up here since the Funk Flex freestyle.
I've been trying to get up here.
And you've been working not only on the Tonight Show, but putting together this project that's out right now with Ninth Wonder.
Yes, sir.
5 songs. First, I want to that Funk Flex freestyle. I know you talked to Jimmy about it on the show, and he had the joke where he laid out the lyrics and the whole thing. I want it maybe for people who don't understand how seriously you take the craft of MC. Can you articulate how deep you go in preparation for a freestyle or a moment like that where you want to make that type of mark?
For moments that I feel are gonna be, like a watershed moment in that way, it's definitely a deep dive. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing research. I'm trying to just become sort of a sponge so that the information can be dense that I'm putting out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that me freestyling on Flex, I may have rocked on Flex Show before years ago, but I feel like this was sort of like a long time coming. It was like a lifetime in the makings. And then he and I went back and forth for months, just like to find the most convenient time to do it. And I feel like it was a lot of build up. So I just when it was time, like on the day, I was just ready to sort of get it over with.
I have a scorching hot take. I don't know if you've heard this. I think it was trash, B. I wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't bars.
Clickbait.
Clickbait. Yo, Tariq, when are you gonna come with the real bar?
Clickbait.
So
Fox News.
It was obviously
news.
It was obviously one of the all-time freestyle moments. So can you take us through a little bit though, just to follow up on what Ebro said, just a little bit into the process of doing something like that? Because I kept saying, beyond the bars. There was a sheer memorization factor that I couldn't fathom. So can you take us through, like, do you practice the entire thing? Or do you have so many different bars in your head and you're bouncing between them?
Yeah, I think it's more of, I kind of committed all the bars to memory. I commit everything, that I write to memory, but it's, sometimes I use them in a different configuration than they were originally sort of written in. So, with what I'm taking into consideration in a verse or in a freestyle like that is I want it to be sort of a journey. So I wanna be political, but not only political. I wanna speak to pop culture, but not only to pop culture. And it's certain buttons that I want to push that lend validity to me as an MC and as a forward thinker and as an artist. And I have so many. However many minutes, just X amount of bars within which to do that. So it's a lot of ground to sort of cover.
Did you ever once practice it though with all of those bars, or no? It kind of just happened?
Not exactly that way. Nah.
I don't get it.
It's crazy. At what point in your life did you discover you had a gift though? Like at what point were you like in elementary school?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but I've been rocking since like 3rd or 4th grade. So when I was 9 years old, I was, that's when I did one of my first performances, like at age 9 or 10. Me and Beanie Siegel had a group, and that was that. I kind of been rocking ever since. So I was always, the one who could rap. Like I wasn't into sports or into any of that other stuff. It was like I was focused on music since before I was a teenager.
Do you have a specific exercise? Like I know DJs who wake up in the morning, they 30 minutes to let me get it in, Yeah. Because I look at it like that, right? The mind is a muscle, right? And if you don't work that on a regular, and even your diction and your breath control and these things, and I people are watching this like, word, really, y'all gonna keep asking thought how he did it? But I don't know, man. I just feel like there is a culture within hip hop of MCs that take the ability to do what you're doing, right? And they like this is drills. Like you have drills, you have the same way as singers doing they scales, same way of anything. It goes all in the same place. Is that how you take it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm from the school, like sort of the graduating class that's concerned with mastery. You know, so if that's what you sort of going into it with, then yeah, it is about sort of raising the bar every time out, and you know, pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? That's just the cloth that I'm cut from. But yeah, I mean, everything is not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes, I mean, for some people, for some people's taste, what I do is, you know, it might be over their head. You know what I mean?
Are you? I've heard interviews where you've been heavy-handed, which I respect, to a lot of new artists who aren't carrying the craft of rap and MCing at the right level. You're not. There's not a lot of new things that you like.
I mean, no, it's plenty of new stuff that I like. It's plenty of new stuff that I like. But you know, I just feel like it's different. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's different. It's you know, there's millennial hip hop and there's traditional purist. I don't know what to call. You know, I'm not really big on.
But you recognize that
labels.
there's some differences,
Absolutely,
and hip hop has gotten big enough to have these different.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the blessing. Hip hop is gotten big enough to you know, for all these different genres and subgenres to coexist. So, you know, I mean, it's sort of space for everybody to do what it is that they're doing. You know what I mean?
Who are you a fan of?
Just like period.
New?
Yes, they were new because I could imagine like how hard is it to impress him? Like, you know what I mean?
No.
Like, who are you a fan of?
I'm a fan of off top. I like ASAP Rocky.
Boom.
Okay.
You know, I like Freddie Gibbs. I'm a huge fan of Anderson .Paak.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I try to keep my ear to the streets. Like, it's not much that sort of makes it past me. But
You're on Logic's album.
Yeah, I like Logic. I like Logic. You know, I'm not the hugest fan of Logic's music. In all honesty, I like the song we did together.
Yeah.
I like some of the joints on his new album, but I really like Logic just as a dude. You know what I'm saying? And for me, sometimes that matters more. And I'll be willing to go into the studio and collaborate with people and just you know, like see what comes of it.
Is that your phone ringing?
Oh yeah. So.
Yo, that's crazy sounds too. Even his
I was
phone
like,
is crazy sound.
Sorry.
No.
That's all good.
So I have to ask you this too. We obviously talking about the present is interesting, and I think it's a wonderful time for hip hop. When you hear the conversations about the all-time greats, there is like, I think a lot of top tens leave you out, and then I think there are a lot of people who are always being, where's Black Thought in the top 10? First of all, do you ever think about rating yourself and where you belong? And do you ever get frustrated the way some of your fans do that you get left out of those top 10s on occasion?
In all honesty, I'm never frustrated because I usually see myself in those conversations. You know what I'm saying? When people are having those conversations, when people whose opinion matters to me are having those conversations, I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? When the people who sort of inspired me to do what it is that I do, when they having those conversations about who now in turn inspires them, I'm in it. So that's really, you know, that's all that matters.
So do you feel like in some ways because there are people who are specifically, they're popular with fans but are also rapper, and I feel like Redman's always been a rapper's rapper.
Yeah.
Every rapper names Redman.
Yeah, Redman is one of my faves.
And I feel like you're sort of
yeah.
similar. People who understand the craft have a different level of understanding of what you do than maybe people who don't understand the craft as well.
That's very true.
What is it? What do you think that is? Like when you hear a Redman, let's take you out of it. A Redman, for example. I love Redman. He sometimes hits my top 10, sometimes doesn't, depending on what mood I'm in. But like, why do MCs, for example, love a Redman so much?
What I love about Redman is his wit. You know, his wit. He's. I mean, there's something about, you know, thinking of just a couplet. You know what I'm saying? Just two lines or two words that rhyme, that you want to sort of be able, as an artist, to exhaust every possible option in the universe, and then like reach to the deepest depth, you know, the furthest reaches of the universe, and grab that line and put it, you know what I mean, and be that witty, but also not so far out that, you know, people don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And when it's done correctly, it's masterful. And Redman is one of the people who who does it masterfully.
Like using wit without trying too hard. Like it's not like you're reaching; it just naturally comes into what
like,
you do.
And I mean, like Redman will say the words that every other rapper wish he said. You know what I'm saying? And if you're jumping on a song, say the feature with Redman, you're gonna now have to reach even further than he did because he took the good stuff. So you know what I mean? It's like he said all the fly stuff. Now you gotta come and say, you know what I mean, and still hold your own. Like that's what I enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I'm able to appreciate an artist when they give me that feeling.
Are there people that I won't ask you to sit here and name your exact top 10 unless you want to, but are there names that you go, I know they're in my, no matter what, I know X, 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 and X are all in my highest tier?
I mean, no matter what, of all times, like in just personally.
Yeah,
like,
just personally, you as a fan.
Who've been most impactful upon me as
on
an
Tariq
MC.
Trotter, yes.
Yeah, you got Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Chuck D, Public Enemy. You got KRS-One, Rakim, obviously. And not in that particular order. You know
right, they're all there though.
Yeah. Ice Cube, the DOC.
You don't hear that enough.
No, you don't.
That album is like, no one could do a better album. It's so incredible.
No one could do it better. And I had The Road to the Riches, like those two tapes when I was a dishwasher up in this pizza place, and that was like, I was living that Road to the Riches verse, you know what I'm saying? But then that No One Could Do It Better, you should just take it to.
Can you also too, while you're talking about that, because there's always something that I bring up with a lot of new artists, is their ability to carry a certain tempo of beat.
Yeah.
Right? And you were never afraid to carry tempo, whether it's slow in the storyteller or just get barred on a record like Adrenaline or something like that. Where
it's a great point.
Right? And now I notice a lot of cats want to have themselves in a certain conversation of rap, and I'm like, but you've never carried, a beat at like 105. You know what I'm saying? Like really got to some tempo.
Exactly.
But could also do 67.
But could also do Can you talk about that? Because obviously the rappers you're naming, Rakim, Cool G Rap, DOC, they'll get on Kane.
All of those dudes. I mean, like that's just like what I'm from. So that's how I rock. I'm able to rock at that faster BPM. But it's just about being knowledgeable enough of the symmetry. You got to know what syllables to take out and how to play with it so that you're able to still breathe at, no matter what tempo you're rapping at. And just
cheat code right there.
To
MC's
speak
cheat
to
code.
Something else that you had mentioned earlier about how I sort of stay just able
sharp.
to rap. I'm on primetime TV every day, so 5 days a week, going into and out of every Tonight Show commercial. The world is my oyster. It's like say whatever I want to say. You know what I mean? Like if I'm working on some new stuff or I want to spit some classic stuff, like that is my.
So you use the Tonight Show to work out, if you will.
I mean, I don't want them to send me an invoice, but
no. I'm just saying. Like,
what guidelines do you have for that? Like, are there certain things like you can't cover another song if you don't have the publishing on it? Like, are there any rules to that?
Yes, you can't cover another song if you don't have the publishing.
But Roots songs are covered. They have the whole Roots catalog. You can do, okay.
It's certain stuff we can play, certain stuff we can't play, and obviously I can't I can't use profanity or
FCC rules apply.
Of course.
But anyway, that's it.
I'm sorry, bro.
Go ahead.
Back to the freestyle for 1 second. I believe I never read this, but from what I heard audibly at the end, you sent love to Combat Jack.
Absolutely.
At the end, and that was right before he passed.
Yeah.
Did you get to communicate with him between the time of that and his passing?
I did. Well, I got to communicate with him right before I did that freestyle, and then I communicated with his caregivers and his like afterwards.
Do you know that he saw it? Do you know he did see it?
Yeah.
I just want to say when that happened, I was like, it was so amazing that right before he passed, a hip hop head as devoted as him was included in an incredibly important hip hop moment. Yeah. I thought that was beautiful that you did that, man.
Thanks.
That was
Jack was a game changer. You know what I'm saying? So
it was a beautiful tribute, though, man. I think I'm sure I know he would be and is honored that he was in that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Stream of Thought. That's the name of
Streams of Thought.
Streams, Ebro.
of thought.
You know why?
Streams.
You know
You
what?
can stream it. Multiple streams.
streams.
Multiple.
Plural.
Well, but there's a double entendre. I don't even know if he knows these bars, but I know these bars.
Okay, go.
Because it's streams, meaning music streaming right now.
That's
I know
right.
he's thinking that. But what the part that I'm thinking is by him calling it Volume 1, he can keep doing more streams. You know what that equals? Streams of revenue. Continuously.
Ninth Wonder on all the production.
No.
No, Nice
His squad.
Wonder and his team.
And his
the
team
Soul
on the
Council.
Got it. Soul
Yes.
Council.
Shout
Love
out to
that.
Crisis, too.
Let's go. Why only 5? And will Volume 2 feature a different production?
Very, very possibly. I mean, only 5 records because I want the people to be able to digest it. You know what I'm saying?
So now Kanye or Pusha put out 7. Kanye put out 7. Is that something that's going on in the industry that maybe the public doesn't realize? Where it's just these because why? Because
I mean, maybe the public doesn't realize it. I think people's attention span is short.
Okay.
And people want their art in digestible, processable sort of increments. You know what I mean?
And we said it as fans, we prefer like shorter albums. Like when
Yeah,
they
no,
give
you
us
can't
like
give me 40
27
records
songs,
though.
it's like,
I'm mad.
come
If you
on,
put out
fam.
40 records and I'm a fan, I'm
Yeah.
like, bruh, fam, I got a
like
daughter. I got a lot of things
exactly,
going on.
things to do.
Yeah.
The last Roots album was about 30 minutes or a little more than 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And that was, a few years ago. So I feel like, the game like has trended more just further in that direction. And music, like as long as the record is dense, I feel like it could be short like that. You know what I'm saying?
Can you? I want to spend some time with you because you've put out with the Roots crew a lot of records that have done
Yes, sir.
around like phrenology, right? Dealing with the idea of the shape of head and people's minds and parts of the brain. And how that whole thing came about, but just that you've put these ideas of people's headspace and what's happening to people in our communities, and this the story of coming of age. Like you guys have done so much unpacking there in your projects. How do you feel about what's happening socially right now? I know that's a broad, but with the racism that we're seeing and the incident in Philadelphia at the Starbucks and what that caused nationally and police brutality. Like these are conversations that you've been having. How does it feel to see them being had on a mainstream level?
I mean, it's just I hate to say I told y'all, but I told y'all.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. None of this stuff is a surprise or is anything new. It's a tradition. It's generations old and super dug in this country, and there's very much about America's history that is sort of swept under the rug that we fail to acknowledge or confront in the right way, and hopefully moving forward some of that is going to change, but I don't think it's going to be anything instantaneous because it's super
work.
dug in. But I think the job, like our job as artists, is to reflect that and to speak to that and to sort of hold a mirror up to society in that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do. I always try to make some sort of social commentary. You know what I mean?
Do you I guess in that holding a mirror up, or even looking in the mirror, whatever, have you took time to listen to the new Kanye? Do you have any feelings on that at all?
I haven't heard the new Kanye. When I'm working on my own stuff, I really try to stay away from everything else because, again, since I'm like a sponge, I'm too easily influenced. You know what I'm saying?
Were you angry or mad at the photo of Kanye in the MAGA hat? I mean, let me say that again. Were you angry or were you like, did you laugh and know he was trolling? Because I know there's a lot of people who was like, this fool, crazy, and they dismissed it, and a lot of people were emotionally invested in it and angry.
First, I was confused, and then I thought, yeah, he has to be trolling. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of greater plan. Yeah.
Are you into this Pusha Drake thing at all? Because I know the Roots, y'all went at Bad Boy and Puffy and the champagne glasses in the video, so y'all have nenever shied away of critiquing.
We did not go at.
Nah, son, that video, fam, y'all was making fun of Puff and them, and a lot of people try to sweep that under the rug like the Roots didn't go at Big and Puff and them. Y'all went at Big and Puff and them.
All right.
Are you saying you did?
Nah, man. I'm saying, well, here's the thing. That was our director. I think our director.
What?
I mean, yeah, I ain't write the treatment for the joint.
Who directed
You
the video?
was in there
Charles Stone.
You was swinging the champagne glass.
Now it sound like I'm
Because
like,
that was all of the videos, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, everybody was like,
It wasn't just Big and them that was doing that at that time.
True.
Or Bad
Okay.
Boy. And,
All right,
and I think what we were speaking to were like the people who weren't really living that life. Who felt
fronting.
Yeah, people who were fronting and who
right, yeah, because you point to the rented
who
cars
still felt
and you
obligated to portray, all those different images and you know what I mean, all those different sort of video stereotypes just to for certification. You know what I mean?
I read that people come up to you and have full conversations with you, thinking that you're Rick Ross.
Totally. It happens to me all the time.
No.
All the time. Like in airports, I could be waiting at a red light, someone will come up. It's crazy. Like sometimes it'll start, it's like a domino effect. One person will come up and it's like they recognize me from The Roots or from Tonight Show or something. And it's like, hey, can I take a picture? Then once one person sees one person take a picture,
yeah.
then they want a picture too, but they don't even know who it is that has to take a picture. And you see them while they're taking a picture, they're asking somebody else like, who is this?
Oh, I know it well.
And
it
then
is an
people
awkward feeling.
wholeheartedly, like there's no doubt, they're like, it's Rick Ross.
and you see them doing it.
Yeah, and I've never corrected anybody. I just, you know what I'm saying?
Boss.
That's gonna be wasted syllables. Now we're gonna have to interact for longer.
Yeah,
So it's
keep
like,
it pushing. If you don't know who I am,
Well, hold on,
so
Joey, real quick. So let's go over the layers to which a Black Thought is recognized. There are people who 100% see you and go, holy shit, that is Black Thought. And they're like, I love you. They're just the hardest core of fans.
Yeah, no
a lot of people like that.
There's like 15 of them.
No, there's a lot more than that. There's a lot of heads like that. Then let's go to then there's the Tonight Show crowd.
Yeah,
they come
Middle America.
Middle America.
They don't know my name is Black Thought.
They might call you Questlove too.
No, sometimes they say Questlove. They
Okay.
do, but more often they say Tariq, and I'm like, wow, like how does this? You know what I mean?
And if they knew your name was Black Thought,
yeah, I don't
they
know.
would be like, wait, they put a black thinker
wait
on
a
my
minute.
television?
So you have those people, which I'm sure is nice, but it's also like there's awkward moments in it because they don't fully get it necessarily.
Right.
And then there's the next layer I never even thought about of people who confuse you with Rick Ross.
Yeah.
Is it just Rick Ross? Anyone else they throw in?
Sometimes Questlove.
Okay.
But yeah, more often just Ross. I'm trying to think. Was I confused with somebody else? Like around you? Yeah, I really get Ross a lot. And it's just since I've been growing my beard, you know what I mean, longer.
So I never got your answer on the Pusha Drake. Are you paying attention to Pusha versus Drake?
I mean, I'm definitely paying attention. I'm able to appreciate a rap beef as much as the next man. Yes.
Have you listened to Pusha T's album? Probably.
No, I haven't
Pusha T's
heard
album.
like anyone's album.
You heard the freestyles though,
I did. I heard the Pusha T song
and the Drake freestyle,
and the Drake song.
And who did you think got the best of who so far in those first two?
I mean, it depends on it depends on what criteria we're grading upon. You know
You say that with a smirk. Why you say that with a smirk?
I mean, I feel like they're both. I like both songs for different reasons.
Did you see the Drake artwork in blackface?
I did.
And what did you say when you saw that?
I said, wow. Again, I was confused, but you know what I mean. We don't always understand. There's often an explanation that's gonna make sense. You know what I'm saying? And I was just, in my mind, I thought there surely must be some.
A black man in blackface, which it wouldn't be the last.
I've been in blackface before. There was an explanation.
Yeah, and that was in
Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Bamboozled.
Yeah, Bamboozled.
Yes.
Right.
I brought that up.
Yeah.
There are reasons why these things.
But see, and I kept explaining to people, like, A, that was in a movie and people knew the context. B, you weren't outed for it. So in a rap battle, in a rap beef, when you get outed for something that people didn't know that you had, that's the pressure. That's when the that's when the heat comes. Yeah. And Pusha hit him with that hammer.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yo, man, don't play political up here, son. Come on,
Just
man.
which is better, man?
It's just
Which
rap.
is better, you said?
No, which is better?
Which is better? I mean, we need them both. We need Pusha T, but we need
It doesn't
Drake.
mean that you don't
know what
like
I'm
Drake
saying?
or you don't like Pusha.
I just do. I don't want to take a side.
No, I'm not saying that. I wouldn't.
All right, wait, let's get to it. Drake had to write a memo, fam. He got hit with a hammer so tough in a rap battle, he had to write a memo to the audience to explain himself.
That's crazy.
What does that mean? That's an
No,
L
you're
in
leading him
rap.
that. Hold on, you're leading him. Flip side of that coin, I'm saying again, Drake talked a lot about rap. Pusha talked a lot about TMZ stories. Right. They both did things effectively. You can't just make it.
Yeah,
the
but
memo
Drake
was
made
a
it
mistake.
personal.
I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole, of getting so personal and bringing, involving like children and spouses.
So you didn't like that?
I mean, not that I didn't like it. It's just not my favorite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm super private, and I would, I would prefer to keep. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, I wouldn't have a rap beef with anyone. But if it were, I would prefer to probably keep it based on what it's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's on the record? What are we
But your
out
man
there?
Drake took it there with mentioning his fiance first.
Yeah.
It's
Drake
true.
mentioned the
It's
fiance
true.
first, and at that point,
did.
street, playground, hood, whatever you are, rap rules. Oh, you bringing a family? Oh, we bringing a family?
Oh, you talking about moms?
You talking about?
Yep.
No, that's
You know
definitely
what I'm saying?
what.
That's what we doing. Okay, boom.
It was
He
almost.
called my moms.
Yeah, it was almost. It's so funny. I swear to God, it almost feels like Drake mentioning that was almost his half Jewish side. Like I could see me making that mistake,
Going too far.
and Shawnee being like, "No, Rosenberg, don't mention his." And I'm like, "Wait, is that the line? Oh, I crossed the line. Oh, no, I didn't mean to cross the line." Because like that was too far, and now Pusha went all the way. Once you took it a little
Clowned
bit
his
there,
dad, clowned his moms,
Yeah, now
baby
we're-
moms.
Yeah.
Went at the multiple sclerosis. Went
saw
at
that.
40. I was like,
That's a
yeah,
lot.
That's
Yep.
a lot.
Saw that. Yeah.
so it's gonna be interesting to see how Drake responds.
Do you in your view of hip hop, and you've seen a lot of rap beefs, right? We've seen a lot, right, over since the 80s, right?
Yeah, since the beginning of time.
How do you feel about this whole time limit? Because remember back in the day, somebody would throw a shot.
Yeah.
You wouldn't maybe hear nothing until the next person put out the album.
I know. Right?
Now
But
it's like a 24-hour news cycle.
The game has changed. You need those darts ready. If it's somebody who exists and you feel they possibly might come at you one day, like you need a bullet with their name on it. Like I just think that's in your best interest.
Yo, Drake,
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
convinced Drake has everything pre-written. The way he delivered after Infrared on the Pusha dropped Infrared, within 24 hours, Drake dropped W Freestyle. That was ready. He had that prepared.
He pre-wrote it, or I don't know who wrote it, but
Or he had it in his mind.
It would behoove one to
have
do-
ideas
to do-
ready?
Yeah.
Do you take issue with the whole people writing other people's songs raps thing?
I don't take issue with it because I'm trying to write for more people. You know what I'm saying? I think if that's what you do, then it's all good. It's just
But do you put an ass? You can't be listed with the greats. If
no, you can't. You can't. I mean, like I don't think. Like, I think you can't be top 5 if you don't write what you're saying.
Everything or like you need to
See,
write
because the
almost
thing with Drake is the songs that were written by Quentin were like the 10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, F It Man. It was, and then you have his 6 a.m. New Yorks and these more kind of personal records that I'm assuming he wrote those. And then you have the R&B records that were written by.
I don't know who wrote what. You know what I'm saying? I don't make the rules. I don't know.
Have you ever spit a bar that someone else wrote?
No.
Never.
No.
Not even someone else in the. Not even.
I mean, I've spit choruses that my writing partners have written. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Dice Raw wrote. You know what I mean? The chorus to 20 Root songs.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? I spit those, but it's that's part of our process. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as far as like my verse, like what should I say? Should I say it this? I don't know.
Yeah, and I do think there's a different rule
I'm-
for hooks. Hooks is one thing. Bars in a verse is where it really now it's.
I do my own writing.
Was there ever anyone you were on a track with where at the end you took your headphones off and you're like, well, I got bodied on that one. It is what it is. Do you ever have one where you felt like I'm great, but I lost that one?
Nah, not just like that. I don't think I've ever just gotten like.
What
bodied.
about one that you go, when I think about it deep down, I don't know if I won this record, because I know everyone takes it competitively on some level.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I won I mean, there's plenty of collab. I wouldn't say that I won any collaboration that I've done, but I just want to perform at peak performance level. You know what I'm saying? I want to do my best. So, in retrospect, was there a joint that I feel like, I did a song with this person that I didn't do as best as I could have or should have? Probably, but I don't even remember those records. You know what I mean?
Let's get to Streams of Thought again, Volume 1.
Yeah.
What's another fan favorite that you're seeing? It just dropped, so I know it's early, but I'm sure you're seeing the response to records.
People definitely feeling Dostoevsky with Rhapsody on it.
I don't know if I'm gonna get a yay or a nay. You know what I'm saying? But because it's early, and you do a lot of rapping.
Word
you know what I'm saying?
He
So
does?
I don't need you to come up here and prove that you can spit. So that's not why I'm about to ask the question I can ask. But I do feel like there's a freestyle that I saw you do before you did the Flex freestyle.
Yeah.
And it was for like a panel. And I think it was Harvard.
Oh yeah. You talking about the Harvard, the Innovation Lab up at Harvard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in there, it was just so powerful. The things that you were saying about things that are going on socially, things that are going on with young black men, things that are just going on, the goings on.
Yeah.
Do you remember these things after you do like?
Yeah, come on. I remember.
I mean, I'm not trying to insult you. I don't know how it works, man.
I do. Yes, I do.
Can we get a
sniff?
A little something.
a little, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because I feel like there's not enough people who have seen that. And while we're all in love with the 8-10 minute Funk Flex freestyle where you did amazing things in that too, I feel like this deals with a specific topic.
Yeah. Okay, so at Harvard I said, they say these legislators are the laziest and round the way brothers are the craziest. Dedicated religious figures are going atheist. Each and everything must change. There's no escaping this. I'm on a block, post-apocalyptic smoke covers, coincidentally presented by the Koch brothers. The magnitude of this is bigger than the both of us. The attitude is trying to manage not to choke from it. Go get the bolt cutters, open the floodgates. Any relationship I ever been in was love-hate. The city I've been living in really never was safe. For some, a temporary resolution was duct tape. Now I'ma probably be on the blacklist, but I don't give a so I'm shug like Atlas. And if my skepticism was a brand new practice, would y'all be disappointed like you just got catfish? It's cold-blooded. I'm wholeheartedly swole-hearted and cold from it. The same unseen hand still in control of it. I should be minding my own like it's a gold nugget, but I'm on that same bullshit, just on a lower budget, waiting on change that been slow. Till the day after tomorrow, I sit by the window in a police state like your man Michael Winslow. My kinfolk told me it's a brand new Jim Crow. I've been going to bed at 10, up at 5, hustle to the bus and ride to the job. It's feeling hot as the 4th of July. My lady just getting home. We live in separate lives. She couldn't be one of those Stepford wives if she tried. They shot my cousin. He died. It wasn't justified. I guess I see him if I make it to the other side. The corner deli owner tell me hurry up and buy. If everybody is somebody, who the hell am I?
Black Thought. Black Thought. Black Thought.
How do they react up at Harvard when you drop that?
I got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
I got a standing
It's
Yo,
so,
and another thing I gotta point this out. I've been watching you rap so long in my life, right? And I used to go to every Roots show. There's a point when you watching Black Thought rap that he knows he's so good he starts laughing to himself. Do you ever notice that? You ever notice that? You ever never noticed that? He gets a little smirk on his face, and when he gets into a zone because he knows he's so good, he starts laughing to himself. It's pretty funny.
Nah, that's
pretty
real.
funny.
who else are you even ever around though?
That's what happens.
Who else are you ever even around that you feel like is really similar to you in terms of like the level that you're at the highest level of this? Who's there anyone else you're around that you feel like you can totally relate to when you talk about the craft of rapping?
I mean, definitely like a Yasin.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like most Kweli. I mean, like, people that I came up with, the Commons, because we pay the same dues. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like those dudes, like Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Members of the Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying?
That's the ilk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Respiration remix for a second.
Pete Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruh. Do you understand? I was on college radio when that came out. And Respiration Original was already a thing.
Of course.
Like it was just a thing. And when they said there was a Pete Rock remix and then you come on last
Yeah.
and just I mean, That's the thing. That's why you have to remember it's not always about the music. Like I'm sure that's not the greatest song that's ever made, but I know based on where I was in my life and my passion for hip hop and the moment we lived in, it gets no better.
But that's the thing we was arguing about. Remember, we were saying like, you know, where you hear music, right? How it hits you, the time, who you with.
And so wait, that time for you too? Like when you think back on that time, it's the same thing?
Like I was running with Pete Rock a lot. Like coming up from Philly, hanging out with Pete Rock and with his brother Grapp and Rob O and
Grapp's my brother,
I, that whole crew.
Yes.
Like that was my team. And Pete had a residency sort of at Green Street Studios in the Village. So I mean, I used to just go post up in there, you know, whenever I was in town. And that's when Pete was popping. So all sorts of artists would be coming through. And you know, some I was a fly on the wall, and then sometimes it'd be like my peoples.
And you know what I think? I think if I'm not mistaken, and I may be, I feel like Respiration Remix was originally his future flavors slang editorial Capadonna remix.
Oh yeah, wow.
I think it actually was.
Wow.
I also got to tell you, we should actually play this to end the interview, in my opinion.
You're a nerd. Yo,
he pointed at you too. You didn't know that?
I think it was it.
Yo, that's why he's here. You know that's why we hide it.
You're a nerd. You nailed it, Black Dog. Yo, no, Tariq, I think we should almost end it here because I've never gotten to say it to your face. Of all the things that make me just get chills and feel like this is why I pursued my life, Act 2, Love of My Life, is one of the greatest dedications of love to hip hop that's ever been made.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Like, do you still feel that way when you hear it? Like, do you like it? To me, when I hear it, the second I hear the beginning of it, all the way to when you start spitting, it's like, this is it. If I was to play for someone, why do you love hip hop? I play Act 2, Love of My Life.
Oh, man, that's dope. You know, I was trying to come up with something at the time. I mean, we collectively were trying to come up with something that, you know, was going to be able to personify hip hop without doing it a disservice. You know what I mean? Coming on the tail end of Common's
I used to love her.
It was like, you know, that really...
That was hard act to
nobody
follow.
else needed to do it after that. You know what I mean? So the fact that I was doing this record and Common was going to be on it, I felt like, you know, I needed to just pull out all the stops and make it, you know, super personal. So that's what we did.
Is it high, it's high on the list for you though? Is it on your list of favorites?
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
Is there a number one? Is there a clear-cut number one?
For me, I have like a top 2 or 3.
Give it to us.
Clock with No Hands is up there for me. You know, just because it's personal and you know, Water again for the same reasons. And man, I really like the Dilla tribute. Can't Stop This.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know, I'm able to appreciate my style, like when I'm just on some sparring or, you know, trying, you know, steel sharpen steel. But when I do show that, you know, those glimpses of vulnerability and, you know, like those glimpses into you know, my life, my family, my personal community and stuff. Those are the records that you know, take a little bit more effort, require more effort, and wind up meaning more.
Was there any real life to another one of my all-time favorite Roots songs, The Nautic? I
mean, Hypnotic, yeah, there was some real life to it, yeah.
Like about the girl, the story, the Europe, the girl, the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The Hypnotic, that was actually based on a true story. Whereas the Hypnotic was sort of like a remix for. I mean, it was sort of like a follow-up to like You Got Me or Silent Treatment, and like all, like those traditionally Silent Treatment, You Got Me, the records that I made, you know, traditionally about relationships and stuff weren't based on actual you know, stuff that actually happened.
Which one you want to play? You want to?
I think
you said you want to end with the Act 2. Then
I think let's end with Love of My Life. That's the one. Nah, Love of My Life is.
You Got Me.
Love of My Life. That's hip hop, man.
Let's do it.
Yo, Black Thought, thank you so much, man.
For everything. For everything.
I wish we would have got to Silent Treatment and Nautic now that you brought those up.
What about Clones and Concerto the Desperado?
Concerto, Desperado.
What?
R-double-O. What? Stop it. We can't do it all. Maybe another time. Maybe you could come back in a year.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know what? I think I'll be back before.
Oh, all right. Give it up, Black Thought. There he is.